Bhutan, often referred to as the land of the thunder dragon, is a small Himalayan kingdom known for its stunning landscapes, rich culture, and commitment to gross national happiness. However, beyond the picturesque facade lies a country grappling with a myriad of challenges, ranging from human rights violations to environmental degradation. Bhutan is a landlocked country located in the eastern Himalayas of South Asia. It is bordered by Tibet, an autonomous region of China, to the north and northwest, and by India to the south, east, and west. In this video, we delve into 15 of the most shocking and sad facts about Bhutan, shedding light on the lesser-known aspects of this enigmatic nation. Number 1. Ethnic cleansing and forced exile. One of the darkest chapters in Bhutan's history is the ethnic cleansing of the Lhotshampas, an ethnic Nepali minority in the early 1990s. The government's One Nation, One People policy led to the forced expulsion of tens of thousands of Lhotshampas, who were stripped of their citizenship and forcibly exiled to neighboring Nepal. This tragic episode resulted in a protracted refugee crisis that continues to this day, with many Lhotshampas still living in refugee camps, unable to return to their homeland. The impact of this forced exile is still felt deeply within the community. Number 2. Refugee camps in Nepal. In the aftermath of the ethnic cleansing, Bhutanese refugees found themselves displaced and stateless, living in overcrowded and impoverished refugee camps in eastern Nepal. Despite decades of diplomatic efforts and international interventions, the issue remains unresolved, leaving thousands of refugees in limbo, with no clear path to citizenship or repatriation, and their future uncertain. Number 3. Human rights abuses. Bhutan's record on human rights has come under scrutiny, with reports of arbitrary arrests, torture, and political persecution of dissidents and activists. Freedom of speech and expression is severely restricted, with strict censorship laws and surveillance measures in place to stifle dissent and criticism of the government. The international community continues to call for reforms and greater respect for human rights in Bhutan. Number 4. Environmental degradation. Despite its reputation as an environmental champion, Bhutan faces significant challenges in preserving its fragile ecosystems and biodiversity. Deforestation, illegal logging, and habitat destruction threaten the country's pristine forests and endangered wildlife. Meanwhile, rapid urbanization and infrastructure development exacerbate pollution and environmental degradation, posing a serious threat to the environment. Number 5. Vulnerability to climate change. As a mountainous country, Bhutan is highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, including melting glaciers, erratic weather patterns, and increased frequency of natural disasters, such as landslides and flash floods. These changes pose significant threats to Bhutan's water resources, agriculture, and hydropower generation, upon which the country heavily relies. Number 6. Limited freedom of expression. Despite transitioning to a constitutional monarchy in 2008, Bhutan still restricts freedom of expression and dissent, with strict censorship laws and surveillance measures in place to control the flow of information and suppress dissenting voices. Journalists, activists, and political opponents face harassment, intimidation, and imprisonment for speaking out against the government. Number 7. Poverty and inequality. Despite Bhutan's progress in reducing poverty and improving living standards, significant disparities persist between urban and rural areas, as well as among different ethnic groups. Rural communities, particularly in the southern regions, face higher levels of poverty and lack access to basic services such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure, despite government initiatives to address these inequalities. Number 8. Limited access to healthcare. Bhutan's healthcare system, while improving, still faces challenges in terms of accessibility and quality of care, particularly in remote and rural areas. Limited infrastructure, shortages of medical supplies and personnel, and cultural barriers contribute to disparities in healthcare access and outcomes, with rural communities disproportionately affected. Number 9. Education disparities. Despite Bhutan's efforts to expand access to education, significant disparities persist, particularly among marginalized groups such as girls, children with disabilities, and those living in remote areas. Quality of education varies widely between urban and rural schools, affecting learning outcomes and future opportunities for students across the country. Number 10. Child labor. Child labor remains a persistent issue in Bhutan. particularly in sectors such as agriculture, construction, and domestic work. Poverty, lack of education, and cultural norms contribute to the prevalence of child labor, despite efforts by the government and civil society to address the problem. The fight continues. Number 11. Gender inequality. Despite ongoing efforts to promote gender equality and women's empowerment, Bhutan continues to grapple with significant gender disparities in education, employment, and political representation. Traditional gender roles and stereotypes persist, limiting women's access to opportunities and decision-making positions. Number 12. Mental health challenges. Mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse, are on the rise in Bhutan, yet access to mental health care remains limited. Stigma and discrimination surrounding mental illness deter many from seeking help, exacerbating the problem and leading to a significant burden on individuals, families, and communities. Number 13. High suicide rates. Bhutan has one of the highest suicide rates in the world. Factors such as social isolation, economic pressures, and lack of mental health support contribute to this alarming issue. Despite efforts to raise awareness and improve access to mental health care, suicide remains a pressing public health issue in Bhutan. Number 14. Vulnerable indigenous communities. Bhutan is home to several indigenous communities, including the Brokpas, Laops, and Lops. These groups face challenges in preserving their unique cultures, languages, and traditional ways of life. Rapid modernization and external influences threaten their cultural identity and livelihoods, raising concerns about cultural preservation and indigenous rights. The struggle to maintain their heritage is ongoing. Number 15. Limited access to clean water and sanitation. Access to clean water and sanitation remains a challenge in many rural areas of Bhutan, with a significant proportion of the population lacking access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation facilities. Poor hygiene practices contribute to waterborne diseases and public health risks, particularly among vulnerable communities, making it a critical issue to address. In conclusion, while Bhutan is often celebrated for its natural beauty and pursuit of happiness, it is crucial to acknowledge the myriad of challenges that the country faces. From human rights abuses to environmental degradation, from poverty and inequality to limited access to essential services, Bhutan's journey towards progress and prosperity is fraught with obstacles. As Bhutan continues to navigate the complexities of modernization and globalization, it is imperative for the government, civil society, and international community to address these pressing issues and work towards sustainable solutions. Ultimately, by shining a light on the shocking and sad facts about Bhutan, we can foster greater awareness, empathy, and solidarity with those who are marginalized and disadvantaged. Thank you for watching our exploration of the 15 most shocking and sad facts about Bhutan. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, please consider giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment below to share your thoughts and insights. Your engagement helps us continue to create content like this to raise awareness and foster meaningful discussions. Thank you.